I want to thank you all for your time and for the organizers. I'll begin by introducing my organization. And Heart Kenya was founded to combat human trafficking in 2010 after the founders realized that Kenya did not have any institution that was fully dedicated to fighting this crime. Most organizations at the time and even now only focused on human trafficking as a component in one of their projects. Heart is the only organization in Kenya that exclusively focuses on counter-trafficking work. Heart has continued with its initiatives to fight human trafficking by involving itself in different activities like creating awareness to the grassroots levels, assisting victims of human trafficking, policy cooperation with different stakeholders, and finally involving itself in the prosecution of perpetrators. This strategy is an adaptation of the UN 3P's strategy of combating human trafficking. Kenya is placed on Tier 2 as a source, transit, and destination country for men, women, and children subjected to forced labor and sex trafficking. This from the Trafficking in Persons Report 2015. What do we do in the prevention program? Apart from the youth program that I discussed last year, Heart has continued with its initiatives to create awareness about human trafficking and what people should do in order to migrate safely, whether internally or externally. This year we were able to include survivors' stories in the workshops. We had different survivors sharing their stories to the participants, and this had a huge impact on how the information was received. We had most of the participants breaking down. We had empathy for the survivors, something that was not happening when we just shared case studies, because we found that most of the time victims were blamed for not being aware that they were dealing with criminals who are the traffickers. They were labeled as being naive or ignorant of what was happening mainly in the Arab countries. We've also managed to have different duty bearers attend our awareness sessions, and this provided a good forum for the public to get into a dialogue with the leaders and get to understand why the public was feeling frustrated from the work of the duty bearers, and as the duty bearers tried to explain what they were doing and their limitations. We have had many cases being reported to these institutions ever since, and this makes us understand the impact of our work in the community. We have widely used the social sites, that's Facebook, Twitter, and even our website, to inform the public on human trafficking, and also we've been able to get referrals of victims who are, most of them, abroad and only can access the internet because they are locked up. We also had a project called Art to End Slavery, which used art as a tool for creating awareness about the different facets of human trafficking. The project brought together more than 30 artists who volunteered for the great project and produced more than 40 pieces of art. These included paintings, photographs, sculptures, and even performing art. The exhibition started in May and ended with a commemoration of the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons on the 30th of July, which reached more than 1,500 people through the events. We developed new partnerships with more than 10 organizations, and also managed to hold one of the first conferences on human trafficking, which brought together different stakeholders, both from the government and the civil society. And we had the IGAD display the art pieces in a regional consultative meeting on migration in Djibouti earlier this month. We've had many more major outreaches, and participants really never fail to say that greed and selfishness is what is destroying humanity. Through this project, we also managed to have different media platforms. We had our programs covered on TV and print media, both local and international. What are we doing with the protection program? Heart has been able to assist 172 adults and 32 minors, with 172 being cross-border and 34 being internal trafficking cases. In December 2014, we were involved in a major rescue of 33 women, 2 of which had infants and 1 was pregnant, who had been trafficked to Libya for forced labor. And we managed to do this with the help of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and IOM. The women are settled now, and they still come for counseling sessions with their therapist, but though some of them really, it takes time for them to be stable and be independent. And then we've had more cases of trafficked people, mainly internally being put to our offices, and this mainly involves children. we've had cases of young boys being trafficked to join the Al-Shabaab militia group in Somalia. This is a worrying trend because we have sometimes, I think, some of the terror cases we've been seeing on the television, most of them actually are Kenyans and not Somalis. And then we found out that the youths, they are either kidnapped or just lured to join the militia. This was from a needs assessment that we had conducted in one of the western part of the country. Then the social media is also being used by the traffickers to recruit victims of trafficking. We also have organ removal, mainly for witchcraft in our country, being a trend which is going on, and the allegations are that we even have the human skin being used to make handbags. Then you also have early child marriages for young girls. It's thriving everywhere, both in the urban and the rural areas. And I have a short letter which was written by one of the girls that we managed to rescue that was being forced by the parents to get married to an elderly woman. This is what she wrote. Hi, Winnie and Hannah. I hope you're fine. How have you been since we departed? The main thing for me to write this letter to you is just to say hi to you. Secondly, I'd like to thank you for accepting my humble request. Sincerely, I'll never let you down in my life. I'll assure you that I'll study for 2 years in high school smart, passing my exams with flying colors without any obstacle on the way, and joining one of the best universities in the US, if not one of the best in Kenya. Since Form 1 to date, she's currently in Form 3. I've been scoring B+, B, or B- due to the problems she was experiencing from the parents, but for now she says she's going to work smart. This is her career goal. To be an engineer, her vision to be where no one else has ever been in the world. Her mission is to help the needy, and her vision 2025 to own her own car. This letter was really moving to us because if we had not rescued that girl, I think her dream would have been shattered. And this really shows the need for us to be able to have shelters where you can keep some of these girls and women who really have nowhere else to run when it comes, it's the family that is abusing them. So currently we are raising funds through crowdfunding. We are hoping to have our own shelter by the end of 2016, and we are raising funds in Poland for the next 1 year through crowdfunding, and you also can get involved. What have we done so far when it comes to prosecution? We've been successful in assisting the police in prosecuting 3 traffickers in Kenya, with 5 other cases still in court. All these cases are on child trafficking. In most of the cases, prosecution is not possible because of the fear that has been instilled in the victims. Threats are used either on their lives or their families, if they dare shared on what had happened. It is even worse when we have the perpetrators being family members or a relative to the victim, because you find that the family is not willing to testify in court. So really we can't get justice for those people. But then we believe that with more awareness, we'll really have more cases going to court. And we had the first actually conviction that we are aware of when the courts are using the Trafficking in Persons Act like 1 week ago. It was on Friday. And then under policy and cooperation, HAT has become a member of several other networks and partnered with other like-minded people, mainly IOM, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Kenyan one. We have Miserio, DC, Courtnet, among many others. And we are also able to create our own network of volunteers from different parts of the country. We are able to mobilize for us as we go and facilitate on human trafficking, and also get to refer our victims to our offices. These networks and partnerships will help us really to refer cases to different institutions, and then also in implementing our activities. Partnerships made in different programs and projects made our work really easier, and just to have a greater impact in our work. I want to finish with just one comment. We all know that each one of us will do anything and everything to protect our children, our brothers and sisters. I wish all of us could do the same to protect all other people, because they're someone else's brother, daughter, and child. Thank you very much.